We're getting our first snowfall of the year, which there's not going to be any accumulation, just some flurries. Now east of us, they've already had a little snow with some accumulation. North of us, west of us, south of us. But we've just been lucky right here and we haven't had any measurable snow accumulation. Which I think as you get older, you just get to where you hate snow. It just, like us, where we live, the weather flip-flops and changes so much up and down. The problem with snow is it'll saturate our ground and it'll warm back up. We get cold, freeze, thaw, freeze, thaw. It's hard on the ground. It makes it hard to run skidders and drag logs, get trucks in. So I don't mind cold weather. I actually kind of like the cold, but I can do without the snow. Because for us, it just makes everything terrible. Now I'm walking up the hill. We're trying to get this last little part of the farm finished up. Hopefully we'll about get that done today. I'm gonna go up here and get the skidder, take it back to the truck. We're gonna load off this county road where, like I said, this last little bunch of walnut is. It's way back there behind me. Of course, I'm walking down this power line right of way. So we'll get the skidder, take it down there, fuel it up. I think Kenny's gonna drag. I'm gonna finish up the cutting, which I did quite a bit of cutting Monday. There's some trees we gotta push. And I've got a few more to just cut. And hopefully that'll have the wraps on this job. There she is, sitting there all lonely. Now, the reason we're not hauling out through this big open field or decking in this big open field, this is one of our landowners' hay fields. And they don't want any trash or debris or ruts of any kind in this field. Which we understand that. We try to be very understandable about things like that. So, that's why we're decking out way over there. It's not that far really, but I would rather do it here but you got to do whatever works. Now, my good friend Kurt Frankie and I were talking yesterday about cold weather and skidders, because he logs up in Minnesota, and the weather is greatly different up there than it is here in southwest Missouri. And we were talking about the hydraulic systems, about, how cold weather, especially on the older skidders, I remember in weather like this, which is not even cold, it's in the low 20s here today. Used to, on like our older machines, the hydraulics would be sluggish even to start with. It just seemed like you really had to let the machine warm up before you could do much. On these new skidders, yeah, I know my light's blinking here. On my new skidders and equipment, skid steers, everything, just the hydraulic oil is so much thinner. And even in this cold weather, it just fires right off. Your hydraulics are running. It seems like just they've kind of got this hydraulic oil, figured out from what it used to be years ago. Kurt told me they used to run automatic transmission fluid in their skidders and equipment. Cold weather up there in the winters, which again, for you guys that log in cold climates, totally different what we get here. We get down around 0 here in southwest Missouri. For us, that's pretty cold. It's cold weather. I know for a lot of you guys, that's probably 0 on the 4th of July, whatever nonsense story you guys will have. But yeah, it's nice anymore to jump in a piece of equipment, fire it up, your hydraulic system's going, you're ready to work. And even like on these newer Deere skidders, like this is an age, so it's not new. Your hydraulic oil reservoir is right here. That's for your hydraulic oil. So it's getting heat off the engine right there to kind of help with the oil. Now the old skidders, like our D's and B's, let me think about that. No, our D's and B's, our B, the hydraulic oil reservoir, was in the floor on the B models, if I remember that right. And it was like the same reservoir for the transmission, hydraulic, it was all the same, but it was in the floor. And then our D's had like a fill tube over here on the side of the engine. I think it was the same thing. But still, I just don't think it worked near like these new ones do. all you log skidder and diesel engine gurus and just social media know-it-alls, because Lord knows it seems like my channel's full of those. This skidder, and it started on this job, and as soon as we finish it up, we're going to take it down to Deere and have them look at it. But whenever this machine's cold, like in the mornings, right here, real pressure sensor, then it'll say high pressure pump. But as soon as the skidder warms up, it runs just fine like it should. It's just like it's being cold natured. And yes, we've started small. We've replaced filters, and that didn't seem to help anything. But you always got to start small, because you never know. But I personally don't think it's much. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know. But to me, I mean, do you think something's kind of, once it warms up, it expands, we're cutting some air off? Do you think we're getting air for it to run like this? But again, you can let it sit here and warm up, and once it warms up, this thing runs just like it should, full of power, does everything right. But it needs about 30 to 45 minutes to warm up. Normally I would be letting it warm up, but I'm just limping it over here to where my truck is. I'm going to park it, we'll fuel it, we'll let it finish warming up, and I'm going to get to cutting. But yeah, so what do you guys think? Like I said, I know there's guys in here that just know everything about anything, and no matter what we do, it's always wrong. And you guys always got the bigger equipment, and we don't know anything about what we're doing. It's a wonder we've made it nearly 100 years, my family company. I mean, no more than we know. I mean, you guys claim we can't make any money with these skidders. We're running the wrong saws, we're running the wrong trucks, we shouldn't buy anything. So please just put us on the right track here. Tell us in all your infinite knowledge what's wrong with this skidder. Well, I've cut some trees, and I'm dragging out what was cut yesterday or Monday, whatever day it was I cut them. Machine's running fine, just like it should. Like I said, no mechanic here, but I'm thinking there's something that's getting air, a crack or something. Then when it gets hot, it expands and cuts that air off. Now that might be the most ridiculous thing ever heard of, but that's just my theory. Again, not a mechanic, have no idea, but that's what I think. Pretty good little walnut. Real good post up back here. My dad has had a few little health problems this year. Back in August, just kind of slowed him down a little bit. But he's still out here every day. He keeps the log deck worked up. It never fails. There's good trees growing right next to a utility right away. Much in this instance, we got a pretty good walnut here. And there's an even better walnut up here, and I'm going to take them down. I've left these trees for last. This one has a prominent lean back the other way. We'll go ahead and put a notch in it, leave a little bit of hold wood on the hinge. We'll leave just a little bit on this back side to keep it up. Then we'll just use the 648 to push it on over, and we're going to use that same method with this one out here. So hopefully we can get these down without a hitch, and we'll get this job finished up. Now, we're all punched out. These walnut, I always go back in and cut my heart out when I put a hinge in them, because I do not like hinge cutting walnut at all. They're brittle, they break easy, especially in this colder weather. They've just, it's a lot different than cutting oak, maple, and ash with a hinge. Just, you don't ever want to leave too much hinge on the walnut, especially on a good tree. But you see, we're all punched out back here. We're clipped down here. There's just a little bit of wood back here holding. I'm going to grab my saw here. We're just going to set it over here out of the way. We'll give it a push. All right, foot on the brake there. Brake off. Here we go. Pretty simple. That's whenever there's obstacles, utilities, structures, fences, I've found that that's the best way to bring these walnut down, or any other tree. And again, I don't mind putting a hinge in oak, maple, ash, sycamore, but I do not like hinge cutting my walnut. I do not like it at all. Again, same kind of tree. This one's got a little bit more of a lean back this direction, but I think we got enough weight with the top up there because it's all going back to the west, because they recently come through here and trimmed the right of ways. They haven't brought the mulcher in yet, but they've brought the giraffes in and trimmed them. So same approach. We'll put a notch and a hinge here, leave some wood. We're just going to push her on over. We'll have to leave a little bit more hold wood here and a little bit more on the back side to justify for the lean, but I think we can do her. Well, this one here is a little more nerve-wracking. I didn't quite cut enough of it to fall, and then I was trying to push on it. You can see we're really trying to give her the beans here, which you got to be careful because those things will pop back and come back. So I hopped out and cut just a little bit more, and I could hear it start to kind of crack and go. So I pitched the saw over here, jumped in and took her on down. It's a lot easier with two people, for sure. And it's still nerve-wracking, it's still dangerous, but that's just kind of part of the job of logging, I guess. So it's down, no trouble. We'll top it, take it out to the deck. We're gonna go eat lunch.